Afternoon, everyone. It's pleasure to be a part of this event and speak to you about future of work and how digital workspaces strategy is going to help organizations make their employees more productive and get connected to technology moving forward. As we all know, work has changed significantly in last 1 year. Ever since pandemic hit us, work moved to remote places, specifically the homes of employees. And as we move towards new normal, we know that work will never be the same, which was about 13 months before. Work is going to be very different. It will get delivered from homes and probably remote places where employees are, which may not be necessarily homes, but cyber cafes and wherever employees want to operate from. At Citrix, we say that work is no more a place you go to, work is what you do, right? That's really the new definition of work. What has helped us during the pandemic, obviously, is that all organizations could clearly shape up their strategy for remote work and get people connected with technology pretty quickly. And we ourselves were surprised in terms of how fast we could do things and scale technology to really have users connected from remote locations. If you really look at what happened over a period of many years, that 300 years before, the definition of work was all about mostly physical work. People coming into that physical location, working as teams and delivering the work. Think of a trader small shop or farming activities or things of that sort. But now the definition of work has changed. The work has really become more that people deliver as knowledge workers. As the work definition changed, parallelly what also happened is that collaboration technologies changed. Collaboration technologies became pretty powerful, as we saw during the pandemic, as we started using various technologies to collaborate, and be part of the team. At the same time, security systems also were all there. But what happened is that we as stakeholders of the companies who were defining the work could never imagine that work can be delivered remotely for majority of the users. So while the technology and the systems and processes evolved, for us mentally, the definition of work still remain about coming to office and seeing people next to each other and delivering. But now during the pandemic, we realized that that's not the case, and technology has evolved enough to really have the work delivered from a remote place. So fundamentally, work definition had changed, and as I said before, work is really not the place you go to, but work is what you do. Therefore, we fundamentally feel that moving forward, enabling remote work is going to be one of the most critical transformations that companies would want to go through. And there are three specific aspects of that. One is building remote work strategy, right? Not everyone is going to be possible to be connected remotely and deliver the work. As an example, shop floor user will have to still come to the manufacturing plant and deliver work. But if you look at knowledge workers, somebody like me, I can be working from anywhere, right? And hence, from a remote work strategy perspective, HR and IT will have to really decide which are the users who can work remotely and which are the users who cannot work remotely. Creating a culture, this is a very, very important piece because if we have the first and the third thing here, which is building remote work strategy and rethinking and having technology that helps deliver remote work, but we don't have culturally a company mindset, for employees to thrive when they are working remotely is going to be a problem, right? So company policies in terms of what kind of employees will work remotely, what kind of not, for managers to really get a mindset that people working remotely and delivering the work are still as much productive as against people whom they are able to see 8 hours a day. So these are really the three key pillars of remote work that's becoming very, very important. And majority of the companies today are looking at remote work very, very extensively. Probably in 2012, 1/3 of employees or companies really believed in remote work. But as we move towards 2021 and in the next 6-7 years, more than 70% of the teams would actually be working remotely, right? So this is something that all the CXOs in the organization need to think about and spend time in terms of how they're going to get right for their organization. As we know that beyond the bottom line, there are lots of other benefits of remote work, right? 2 trillion is the benefit to the economy because now we're able to tap untapped, potential. Gig employees, right, is going to be a huge phenomenon moving forward. Employees predominantly in India, women who couldn't necessarily turn up to a place for 8 hours called workplace can now be productive remotely and can be part of the workforce. And we know that from a productivity and focus perspective, almost 70% of the remote users feel that they are more productive, and there is an increase in productivity while they are acting remotely. 83% of the remote workers say they have a better work-life balance, right? As an example, right now I'm going through some health problems for my family, and I am able to adjust my work through the day very beautifully, in terms of how I am able to pace out the work and still deliver my work, and at the same time really take care of the family, nursing few people and things of that sort, which earlier may not have been possible. Because I would be required at my workplace for 8 hours and travel for 2 hours and things of that sort. And last but not the least, from an environment perspective, remote work is really good. We all know that 214 tons of reduced carbon emission annually is just one data point that I am presenting here. So what would it take now to make all of this remote work possible? The first piece is really IT and HR to work together. I will come to the technology piece subsequently, but for IT and HR work together, have the right policies, because if you look at Citrix as an example, our CIS truly believes that the physical, the work at remote locations has its own drawback, and the digital environment will need to beef up and take care of all the negatives of, say, working from home. And I will talk about that and how technology can help there. And same with HR in terms of getting the remote work strategy, culture, and all that I spoke about earlier. Of course, whilst I spoke about all the benefits of remote work and how to enable and things of that sort, we all know that not everything is great about remote work. From an employee perspective, there is a feeling to be always on. There's a feeling about being stressed out, the impact that it can have on health, because you're not very productive you're not very active at home as compared to office, where you will have a quick walk, speak to your co-workers, things of that sort. And hence burnout and things like that are some of the aspects on the slide that I'm calling out are clearly the negatives. Can technology be a solution to some of this? One needs to think through, and I will talk about that when I talk about digital workspace as a platform. Just as an example, that at your home, you can be pretty distracted accessing multiple applications. You may not have the next coworker next to you to really ask, how does one apply for leave, right? Or where is this, training module, things of that sort. Can technology help there, right? Let me come to the solution now as to how different blocks of technology can help, right? And in the industry, it is called as a digital workspace. And there are really 5 promises that digital workspace, needs to give to the users as well as to the CIO organization. First, let me talk about the CIO organization being able to deliver all the applications remotely. When the pandemic started, and I was talking to some CIOs, they said, yeah, but out of 68 applications, my users are only able to access 40 applications. For the remaining applications, they will have to still come to office. So are you in a position to deliver all applications securely to the users on both managed and unmanaged devices, right? Moving forward, BYOD, using their own devices, users, gig workers are the workers who are going to use their laptops probably across 3 different employees that they work for, right? So do have the policy to deliver applications on both managed and unmanaged devices. Easy onboarding and offboarding of employees, right? Because if you have to onboard a user who is coming in remotely and then offboard because again the person is remote, the IT infrastructure should really allow to do that. And as said on another point on the slide is all of this will have to be delivered from hybrid cloud, right? Because today you are delivering applications from on-premise as well as public cloud. Next important promise that digital workspace will need to make is to the users of allowing access to all applications, all files from any device that they use, right? The constraints of having some files on some devices are not being accessible. I can be on, at my house using iPad or a desktop that I have at home. But if I want capability to log into remote PC, which is in my office, because there are some files there or some files on OneDrive or Google Drive or things like that, digital workspace should actually allow to do that. Reduce context switching and minimize unnecessary distraction are another important point on the slide. Today, if you look at power users like me have need to access 10 to 12 applications continuously through the day, right? We are switching from a CRM to expense application to a HR application to our portal to so many other applications to Microsoft Exchange, email, so many applications otherwise we access. Instead of forcing users to now go to individual applications, make authentication individually, and force users to now access screens of applications that they are not, very conversant with, because one particular application user interface would be very different from the other user interface, right? So can you extract all of this information and present in a nice digital workspace to the user, so that user does not have to go to an expense application or to a procurement application or to HR application separately, but all the tasks meant, as an example, to approve an expense, right, or to apply a leave, to look at sales reports. Can you extract that and present in a beautiful digital workspace, digital cockpit, rather than making users see non-intuitive, user applications per se, is another aspect that digital workspace is supposed to do. And last but not the least, virtual assistant, automated workflows, because the users are working remotely and they may not necessarily have access to co-workers to ask how does this happen, right? So how about me wanting to apply for a leave, and I just say apply leave to a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant in Citrix would figure out, oh, we use Workday as an HR application. Open that, tell me how many leaves I have, still that I can apply, and using voice assistant process, apply for a leave as an example. Mobility driven, huge important point, right? Because users are going to be mobile. Right now, they are probably working only from home, but as the economy opens up, as movement is allowed, they are going to probably access from mobile devices, and having the same experience on different devices and different operating systems and different technology that they use. As an example, Facebook, whether access is on an Apple device or Windows device, the user experience is really the same. One big important point is really security, right? The traditional, VPN, perimeter security models are really going away. We need to really look at zero trust, because from the earlier days of company managed desktop, a user using company managed desktop, accessing application over a company's wide area network and logging into corporate data center of that company is gone. From that model, you are now into a new model where you are using an unmanaged device. The user is using an unmanaged device. He is logging in from any Wi-Fi at home using internet, which is not really controlled by your company, and logging into mostly applications which are in public cloud, right? So those parameters of security will have to change and evolve into the dynamics that I really spoke about. And then having all sorts of analytics for security, all sorts of performance monitoring, right? That if we before the user anticipates, before the user comes across user performance issues, can analytics software really tell me that, right? Can I have security analytics to really say, oh, this user seems to be at risk, there is some abnormal behavior of this user who is at a remote location, things of that sort. So security will continue to be a very, very important aspect. And last but not the least, making networking and security technologies come together, having unique things like personalized WAN, because the users are going to access applications over challenge networks, right? So can you have capabilities to do personalized WAN for users, things of that sort, delivering applications like we used to deliver in earlier days on VDI, right? on challenge networks and where bandwidth is a challenge, things of that sort. Bringing it all together, Citrix delivers it out of what we call workspace as a platform. We make three promises: experience, choice, and security. Right? We take care of user experience. I spoke about Microsoft's integration, delivering the same app user experience, really bringing the mobile application experience into a corporate environment, so to say. Giving choice to the users, the second promise. They can use the technology devices that they want, and last but not the least, delivering it securely through zero trust and SASE and those sorts of models. So we fundamentally feel that remote work is going to be a great place, a great strategy for all of us to adopt, and one should really look at digital workspace as a platform to help deliver that. Thank you so much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.